Hi, everybody. Welcome to Choosing to Connect. And today we're going to talk about the two opposite forces in our life, how they play out, why we need them, and what we can do to find harmony within this context of plus and minus, black and white, good and bad, always playing out in our life. Stay tuned. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Choosing to Connect. I'm Mandelbaum. I'm a social psychologist and a spiritual teacher. And here we talk about elements and principles of spiritual life to help you manifest love, manifest the kind of life that you want to live so that we can all move forward towards greater harmony and greater balance and happiness as a society and as humanity. And today I'm talking about a very, very deep concept, the concept of opposites. Some people call this the duality of our life, right? When you look at reality, when you look at nature, when you look at our life, you see that everything is based on these two opposite forces, good and bad, plus and minus, man and woman, right? Nature itself is created of these two forces. Except we can also see that, and we see this very well on the lower levels of nature, the physical levels, the natural levels, we see that we need an additional force. I would call this a middle way, a middle line, a middle force to connect the two opposites for life to occur. The male and the female come together and give birth to a new creation that is contrived of both of them, but is neither of them. And so it's the same for us as human beings. We need to learn how to combine these two opposites within our internal spiritual life as well as within our societies, which we will talk about in a moment. But first, it's within ourselves that when we learn to see these polarities and to connect them and to find that middle path, that's when we begin to give birth to higher levels of our own consciousness, higher levels of being, and what some people would call even God, God consciousness or unity consciousness. And the most interesting part of where they play out is actually within our human relationships, because that is what's most relevant to us. And that is what we most need to learn. This is also the reason that I called my website, my channel, Choosing to Connect, because knowing how to connect above these differences, about this polarity, this duality, is exactly the cure and the key to making life, enabling life, making positive change, creating evolutionary leaps. So we really want to know how to do this, how to take those plus and minus and work above them to create something new, to bring life forth. So how does this happen in our relationships? I have a little example from my relationship with my husband. That oftentimes he likes to say something, like to joke around and kind of tease me or like play a little prank that usually will get me upset. And then I say something like, "Hey, what was that for? Like, why are you saying that?" And then he'll remind me that every good relationship, like a good dish, needs a little salt and pepper in the mix. And even though it annoys me, there's a very deep truth to that, because we can't always experience only the good, only the connection, only the positive. We need to have a little bit of salt and pepper. We need to have a little bit of distance, a little bit of conflict for us to draw more of the positive force, more of that unity, more of that connection, more of that love on a higher, deeper level. If we're constantly on one level alone, it's like those graphs of somebody's pulse. If is no pulsation, then it's just a straight line, then that is not life. For life to take place, there always needs to be this play between the two opposite forces. So in our relationships, it comes into play through connection and distancing, connection and conflict. And I would say it's what we need to learn, or what we need to practice, is accepting that this is the essence of our life. And usually our instinct is to push away from the negative and to want to hold on to the positive. Yet we shouldn't do that, because it's like resisting the flow of life. It's resisting the natural dynamic of the relationship. And what we need to do instead is learn how to harness the negative states, the negative feelings, the negative situations, so that we can connect above them and rise up to higher levels of positivity above them. So how does that look in a relationship, for example? This might look like we've discovered a distancing. We've discovered that we're not feeling as in love, as connected as we did maybe yesterday or, previously. And then we decide, instead of to just let that negativity be the reality, we decide to work above it, even if that means that at first it feels a bit artificial. We work to connect above it. We say nice things to each other, we compliment, we act as if we are in love and as if we are still connected. And it's this effort to pull yourself above the negative state back into the positive, that it allows a new level or new layer of positivity to appear, because you're actually drawing it from nature. Nature is like a field, the field of positivity, right? The field of endless possibility, of endless bounty, abundance, love, light. And we are actually, if that is a positive, then we are actually the negative force. We are the desire. We are um, we are negative in the sense that we attract, we pull, we want the light to fulfill us. We're like the cave, like the vessel, right? The vessel is empty. That emptiness is the minus, and the light that fulfills it is the plus. So we want to be constantly pulling more of that positivity, more of that light into our relationships, because gradually what we're doing is we're experiencing more and more of the negativity, which is actually making our vessel bigger, and then we're able to draw more of that light. If we don't do that work, we're just kind of staying on the same level. Maybe it's something very superficial, or I would say more animalistic. But if we already want to evolve as human beings, we want to start doing this work with the two lines, always moving from positive to negative, but rising above them to create greater connection at every turn. Now, this is especially important, not just in our romantic relationships, but in our societal relationships, because today, and this is no coincidence, because we're really moving forward in our evolution as human beings, what we're seeing is that polarity showing up at very extreme levels, right? The left and right political sides. It's like nature is showing us how polarized we are. And it's the same two forces, except they're playing out in our social, political, um, cultural landscapes. And so here too, our goal is to realize that we need both of them. We need the plus, we need the minus, and one does not exist without the other. Rather, what will allow us to exist, and to exist on higher levels and better, more harmonious, more fulfilling levels of life, is the connection between them, is our ability not to erase the other person and the other opinion and the other side, but to build something common and shared above it. Now, I know this sounds kind of far-fetched, like how do you actually do that in practicality? But this is our conscious evolution that really needs to be born in our life right now. So we can't see it because it's coming from a higher level of consciousness, and we don't know how to do that yet. But when we strive to do it, when we want to do it, when we work at it, like I said before, when you want something and you visualize it as best as you can and you strive for it, then you're actually drawing that from nature. It's kind of like a child who learns to walk or learn something new. They make efforts, right? They don't know how to do it, but it is within their evolutionary process, and it will happen for them because nature wills it, right? It's in the plan for them, it's in their DNA. So they do it, they try again and again, they end up falling and not succeeding, but it's as if they're drawing these abilities from their own, from nature, from their own path, from their own plan, and finally they're able to walk, and suddenly they're on a whole new level, and they forget what it was like to crawl or to not be able to walk. So it's the same with us. We need to learn how to walk as a society by learning how not to negate each other, but rather to find a way to live together side by side with shared goals of sustainability, of mutual understanding, of mutual connection. This is our future, and it really depends on us how we reach that future. Will it be a pleasant and easy and quick path of awareness that will lead us there? Or will it be huge pressures that will end up showing us that we cannot just be at war with one another because we just end up destroying ourselves and our country? And finally, we understand, well, there's no other choice, but we have to collaborate. So we don't want to do it that way. We want to do it through awareness, through education, through passing this message forward, through talking about it and wanting it and visualizing it together. This is what actually draws these good situations, these good outcomes, these future prospects closer to us. So I hope that was interesting for you. We talked about the plus and minus playing out in our life, these two negative polarities, and how they play out in our relationships at home and at large, and why it's so important not to delete, not to erase, not to run away from any experience, be it positive or negative, but rather to learn how it pushes us forward to grow and to exist on higher and higher levels of understanding of consciousness. And this is really something that you can take and see how it plays on all the different levels of our lives, from the smallest, most simple layers and levels of nature to our most highest and complex and evolved states of consciousness. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, do leave them below this video. Like the channel to know when new videos come out, and share this with anybody you think will find it helpful and interesting. This was certainly important for me to share with you because I feel that together we can influence our reality for the better just by thinking these thoughts and wanting them, desiring them, visualizing this together. So thanks so much for listening and being here. I really, really want to celebrate you. And if you want more of this, you can actually send me an email to choosingtoconnect at gmail.com or to my website, choosingtoconnect.com. And let me know if you want to be part of a community that actually learns how to do this in practicality and uplifts one another so that we can achieve this together. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.